The Netherlands has always been known for its open and welcoming stance, but that's changing. Why is the country now saying no to immigrants? The face of anti-immigration in the Netherlands is the Freedom Party leader, Geert Wilders, and the far-right leader, Geert Wilders, is over the big influx of immigrants to the Netherlands and wants to opt out of the EU asylum policy.
We have to make sure that there will be less influx of asylum seekers in the Netherlands.
This is the strictest asylum policy proposed by a Dutch coalition ever, and it happened just 6 months after Wilders won the Dutch elections. Wilders proposes a 0% asylum policy for his country, and wants the Netherlands to opt out of the EU for good. This means no new asylum seekers would be allowed into the country. But that's not all. He's also calling for stricter border controls, increased deportations, and tighter regulations on asylum seekers already in the Netherlands. And it's nothing new. It's not the first time that Geert Wilders makes anti-EU statements due to their behavior against the big migrants' influx in the continent. Not only wants he to leave the EU, but he also isn't shy of making anti-Islam statements. And he also tweets a lot about it. But first, let's take a quick look at the historical context. The Netherlands has a long history of immigration, welcoming people from all over the world. However, in recent years, there's been a significant shift in public sentiment. With increasing concerns about housing, employment, and cultural integration, the political landscape has changed dramatically. So what exactly has changed, and why is the Netherlands taking such drastic measures? It began with Geert Wilders. He finally won the elections last year after trying for 25 years. So it's obvious that people want to see change in the Netherlands, and the question now is, will the Netherlands go through with it? Will they opt out of the EU asylum policy? But this spokesperson for EU says it's not something that can be done easily.
You cannot opt out of EU legislation.
Wilders is referring to the same EU opt out of the asylum police, like Denmark did last year. Denmark negotiated to opt out of the EU's asylum policy, so they can make 0% asylum policy a fact. So it's obvious that the Netherlands want less immigrants in their country. Not only do they want less refugees, they want less international students to their universities and make stricter rules for migrant workers. So why these drastic measures? One of the biggest reasons is the housing crisis. The Netherlands is facing a severe shortage of affordable housing, and many believe that reducing immigration could help alleviate this issue. Additionally, there are economic factors at play with concerns about job competition and the strain on public services. Social and cultural impacts also play a role, with some citizens feeling that the influx of immigrants is changing the fabric of Dutch society. The new coalition government has promised the strictest asylum rules ever. This includes requiring non-EU labor migrants to have work permits and making employers responsible for housing migrant workers. These steps are aimed at reducing the number of new asylum seekers and managing the current population more effectively. Highly skilled migrants and international students are also facing tougher regulations. The government plans to tighten visa qualifications and limit the number of spots for foreign students. Tuition fees for non-EU students will increase, and more courses will be taught in Dutch. These measures aim to ensure that the influx of students and workers does not overwhelm local resources. The path to integration is getting harder too. The standard period for naturalization is now extended to 10 years, and the language proficiency requirement has increased. Additionally, the government is cracking down on what it calls undesirable foreign influences, aiming to preserve Dutch cultural norms. Housing shortages have been a significant issue, leading the government to delay family reunification for asylum seekers until adequate housing is found. This controversial policy has drawn criticism for potentially violating European directives, as it can leave families separated for extended periods.
I rather would have no Quran at all, as we, in Holland at least, have outlawed Mein Kampf and parts highly symbolic. Still, it would have an enormous effect to do so. If one country is tougher on its immigration policy than the other, then the most immigrants go to the country with the softest immigration policy.
But why is the Dutch government making these changes now? Asylum centers in the Netherlands are overcrowded, creating poor living conditions. The government is reducing new arrivals and finding additional housing for those with residence permits to address this issue. The influx of migrants has strained the Dutch economy and social services. By tightening immigration rules, the government hopes to alleviate these pressures and ensure resources are available for Dutch citizens and long-term residents. The rise of right-wing parties like the PVV reflects a growing sentiment among the Dutch population for stricter immigration controls. This political shift has led to the current coalition government prioritizing immigration reform as a key policy issue. It's interesting to note that the Netherlands isn't alone in this. Denmark, for example, has already negotiated an opt-out of the EU's asylum policy, allowing them to enforce a near-zero asylum intake. This move by Denmark has set a precedent that Wilders wants to follow. However, the process isn't straightforward, and there are many legal and political hurdles to overcome. It is essential to note that the Netherlands is not alone in adopting stricter immigration policies. Other European countries, such as Denmark and Hungary, have implemented similar measures, citing national security and economic stability as primary reasons. This trend reflects a broader shift towards nationalism and protectionism in Europe, where countries prioritize their interests over collective European values of openness and solidarity. The challenge remains to balance national interest with humanitarian responsibilities and to find a sustainable approach to immigration that benefits both native citizens and newcomers. The election results show that a significant portion of the Dutch population supports these policies, hoping for a change. However, it's important to remember that the Netherlands is a diverse country with a wide range of opinions. Many people are deeply opposed to these measures, arguing that they go against the values of tolerance and openness that the Netherlands is known for. What could these policies mean for the future? In the short term, we might see a reduction in the number of asylum seekers and immigrants. However, the long-term effects could be more complex. Economically, the country might face challenges if it loses a valuable workforce. Socially, these policies could lead to increased division and tension. And for the EU, this move could signal a shift towards more restrictive immigration policies across the continent. To sum up, the Netherlands is at a crossroads. With Geert Wilders' strict asylum policies, the country is making a bold statement about its stance on immigration. Whether these measures will solve the housing crisis and other issues remains to be seen. But one thing is clear, the debate over immigration in the Netherlands is far from over. If you found this video informative, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more in-depth analysis on current events. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic, so drop a comment below and let us know what you think. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.